Hello, I'm EnterElysium and welcome to Let's Look at OPUS MAGNUM. OPUS MAGNUM is completely and utterly mesmerizing and I love this game. I'm not sure if I'm saying that because I've been hypnotized by the beauty of the gifts and stuff you can make in this game, but it is a game that has... I'll just simplify it for you. I meant to record a video for this game a few days ago, but I've been too busy playing it to make a video. It's that good. It is one of my favorite games of all time already. This game is basically a puzzle game. And I'm not usually one for puzzle games, so I know a number of you went, oh, puzzle game. I'm not often one for puzzle games, but it has a beauty to its... Like, just look at this! This is something you do in the game. This is a solution to a problem in the game. It is absolutely beautiful. It is a game about being an alchemist and trying to make alchemical compounds from constituent elements. You put things together. So over here, I think we're putting together... these are air. That's lead. This is... We also make tin at some stage over here. That's a tin thing. And then we have to make it in this pattern and then put it in here. We'll explain it as we go through, and I'll show you some of the mechanics in this game. But it is such an absolutely beautiful game. I think the only time I've been this enamored with a game's design concept has been maybe Mini Metro. This is a game that really blows it out of the water for me. So we're going to go, and we're going to find a little bit of an easier problem to start with. But in essence, this is a puzzle game about being an alchemist and trying to make certain things from other things using some arms that move and turn and stuff like that. It's a great description. I'm pretty good at descriptions. You've probably got this by now. So we're just going to back out and we're going to go to the first act. I've nearly completed this game already, and I meant to record a look at it video. So we're going to dive back to Act 1. There are 5 acts, and in Act 1, you've got a whole load of stuff here. All of these are different types of missions, except for the book ones, and I think this one. Yeah, so each of these is effectively like you've got to make something from something else. This is a Sigmar's Garden. It's like a little board game. These are basically like story messages. We're going to go all the way back actually to here, I think, and we'll do the lessons, because there's 5 acts. There is actually like an Act 0, which is mostly lessons. The last one is actually a mission as such, but we're just going to do that one because it's super simple, and I'm going to start off afresh. So, we're going to start off with trying to make our product over here from our reagents here. That's, in essence, what this game is about. It's about making things from other things. Down here, we've got our track editor. This is effectively like if you've ever done like video editing or something. I don't know if you have. I spend a lot of time doing video editing because, you know, YouTube. Might look familiar to you. Basically, this is where you give orders and they carry out in a left to right progression. This is your timeline. So this is your board. We're going to put down the product. That's what we want to make. Our reagents, that's what we've got to make it with. And then this is the time. Now, you've also got mechanisms and glyphs and stuff. Bear in mind that these have a cost associated with them. We're not really going to go into that just yet. I kind of want to just explain the basic mechanics, but we'll maybe do that later. So, we need to make this from these. Now, firstly, we need to look at the product. What is the product? It is a water. This is water. Attached to a salt. This is a salt, right? We don't have salt. Neither of these are salt, but you can make salt. You make salt using this, the glyph of calcification. The glyph of calcification transmutes any of the 4 cardinal elements, air, fire, water, and earth into neutral salt, which is what we're going to do. We're going to transform water into salt. If you look over here, by the way, you can see that we've got fire, water, air, and earth. All of them can be turned into salt. You've also got vitae and mors. That's more complicated. You've got lead, tin, iron, copper, silver, and gold. And quicksilver, which is used to transform those. We'll ignore all of that for now, except for the fact that we can make a salt from a water. So, we need to make a salt from a water, and we need to put a water there. And we also need to then bond them together. So, at the very, very start, we'll just show you how this works. So, we have levers, and this lever here can be up to 1, 2, 3 in length, and it can be in any direction. We'll put it in this direction for now. And the way this game works is you have this lever, it's over the top of this water thing, we give it some orders. Now the orders are down here, we can give it a grab, a turn anti-clockwise, drop, and then we can give it a reset order. In fact, we don't actually need to tell it to drop, because a reset order tells it to drop and go back to where it was at the beginning. So if we just give it a reset, you'll notice it's got 3 moves, which is drop, turn clockwise, and it will be reset. If we hit play, ta-da, and then it cycles through again. We could tell it just to stop, and you'll see what happens. So it grabs, it moves, it drops, it moves back, and notice that this has been filled in. And it's going to wait now, because I told it to wait. So that is how this game works. In a nutshell, that is the basic mechanics behind this game, and it is super simple. But you can get some really complex things out of it, which is what I was showing you before at the start. So, we need to make this salt. How are we going to do that? Well, we drag it over the glyph of calcification, and you'll see it turns into a salt atom. I know you don't really get a salt atom. A salt is actually a, like a potassium nitrate. You take a metal and you take a non-metal but whatever. In this game, it's a salt atom because it's alchemy. It's not modern day chemistry. And then we drop that. Cool. But it's not bonded. We need to actually create a bond as well. So let's just put the water in as well. So we'll put a water atom here. And then if we tell 2 to grab, move clockwise and reset, what you'll see is that you grab, you move to there. Ta-da! Which is great. Except for the fact they aren't bonded. We have the correct atoms, but they aren't bonded. So what we need is a glyph of bonding. The glyph of bonding creates a bond between 2 atoms, after which they will move as a group. So, and notice that they are now bonded. Now, we need to move that to here. Now, there's a few ways we can do that. For instance, we could do this, twist it. At the end of this, say, as you reset, grab. So this is going to be let go. If we play, you'll notice that this is let go. So we want 3, which is the name of the lever, and in the timeline track, to grab, twist anti-clockwise, and then just reset. And what you'll see is that grabs, that bonds, that lets go, that grabs, and it lets go and drops it in there. And note that our product now says 1 out of 6. This is actually a solution to our problem. And we can just let it play, and it'll get faster and faster and faster as it does all its products. And that's as simple as the game is, at its very core concept. Now, obviously, this is the first ever actual thing you make, not being part of a tutorial. This is the very first non-tutorial exercise in the game. And there are a lot more exercises to come, and we'll dive into some of those in a second. But here's the other part. It's not massively difficult to do any of the exercises in the game. What is difficult is doing them only using a certain amount of stuff in a certain amount of space or as fast as possible. And each lever that we put down, lever, has a cost. And each glyph has a cost. So the cost, it cost us 80 gold to make this. I've actually done it before at 60. It's telling me that my best is 60. Previous best is 60. Cycles. We've managed to do it in 36 units of time, cycles. Whereas before I did it in 70. So, although it's cost us slightly more, we've actually managed to get a lot faster. Then we've done an area of 13. Our previous best was 11. So it's rating us on how much we cost to make it, how fast we make it, and finally how much area we need. And we could just go back and we could edit this and we could make it more efficient. I don't know how you'd want to make it more efficient. My suspicion is that we'd probably want to use something along the lines of this. Now, this looks really intimidating. It's actually just, say what we've already got. It's a lever, but in every direction. So it will grab everything around it and move them. And you could maybe get more complicated, and you could, I think if we grab that and put it on there we go, it upgrades it. We could grab, we could move these around, and we could constantly be placing these water atoms, and then we could constantly be placing them in here. If we do that, let's see if we can get this to work. Maybe if we, ooh. Right. If you grab that on the way back, drop it there, grab that. This is what I'm thinking, okay? I'm going to go through my logic here very slowly. In future puzzles that we'll do, I'm going to chop out most of my thinking stage. But here's my thought. If we can get you to constantly drop water up here, and turn it into salt, and then you can grab and move this back. So I want you to, you're going to have to move a little bit further for this, to rotate, rotate. This is complicated. The thing is, if we don't have a gap between the rotating and the grabbing, we're going to have some trouble. That's why I was doing this more complicated system. We'll let the complicated system play out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so that we can do this, which is a repeat command, which will repeat the previous instructions. And then you move up to here. When you let go, you can then move that back, let go, and then reset. So, right, you move to there. You can delay. Delay it slightly more. Ah, we let go of that there. We didn't mean to let go. Move you to there. Right, try this again. And there we go. We've got an error that they're grabbing the same item. Move you back slightly. Right, so you turn to assault. They bond. You let go. You don't need to grab again immediately afterwards. We'll put those on. That should make this work now. And it took us 35 cycles. No, it took us 36. God damn it, it's the same as our previous. It did turn out cheaper, and it's the same area. So we managed to beat our previous. Now there might be a way to edit this so that it's not quite as messy. $35. Okay. It's not the best we could do. You could certainly do better. Look, this is the online leaderboard, and notice that we are here. 35. There are people who can do it in 25. And we can keep editing to maybe improve that. But that's a really simple one. If we go back to menu and we were to say... by the way, there is a complete story and stuff. If you notice this, there you go. There are people talking, discussing being an alchemist, etc. The story for me is very much secondary. I just love the puzzles. But for some of you, it's nice. It's got this setting, and it's actually really nice that they've done that. And the aesthetic is really lovely and fits in with it. But it doesn't matter all that much. We're going to, at least for me, because I'm fascinated by the actual just puzzles in the game. We're going to grab armor filament. That seems like a good one to do. So we'll open this, and I'm just going to quickly delete that. So this is a different one entirely. Look at this. This is not one thing you have to make. You just have to keep making a long chain. This one is not you drop an element, it disappears. This is you need to keep making a chain and needs to all be connected. A bit like a long chain hydrocarbon or something like that. If you've done chemistry, you'll understand the concept. That they are all bound together. This is armor filament we're making. So obviously armor filament, you want it long and strong to be able to bind and tie with other things. So here we are going to be making this. Iron. Isn't it lovely? And to make iron, we have quicksilver and lead. And over here, you see we've got lead, quicksilver. Now, the way this works is you can turn lead using quicksilver into tin. You can make tin using quicksilver into iron. So, if we put down our items there, we will need a glyph of projection. The glyph of projection consumes an atom of quicksilver and promotes an atom of metal to its next highest form. So, the quicksilver goes here, the lead goes here, or whatever it is. It will also promote tin in that slot as well. And then we need to move this into there, and that into there. Yeah, something like that. So what we need to do is we need to make quicksilver into iron. So quicksilver to tin, well, lead to tin using quicksilver, and then tin to iron using quicksilver. Quicksilver needs to go here. Lead needs to go there. Just to demonstrate the concept, I will put in some levers here, just basic ones. Grab, turn, reset, grab, turn, reset. And then you'll see that they grab, they turn, they let go. That is turned into tin. If we then allow you to go again and put, oh, not you, sorry. And actually we'll just use V to recommend. So grab another quicksilver, turned into iron. So we're just gonna get rid of that entirely. The reason I've chosen these is that this is a period of 2 to 1. This will rotate consistently because it's got 6, whereas this has only got 3, so it will rotate at, in theory, half the speed, easily. So for 1, we want it constantly supplying quicksilver. So if we go grab, rotate, let go, grab, or we can just do a repeat. We want it to repeat, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. And so what that'll do is it'll drop, it'll grab, it'll drop, it'll grab, it'll drop, it'll grab. Until it's full. Now, in theory, this quicksilver is actually being used every time it's dropped. We can do the same thing with 2. So if we give 2 exactly the same orders, but with a, reverse there. And we'll have to get you to rotate an extra time before each of these. There we go. And then, yes, you'll collide. Right. And that gives us iron. Now, what we need to do is make this armor filament. So we've got iron being produced at a consistent rate by these. I know I'm going through this relatively fast, but I'm trying to condense what the game teaches you in a lot of tutorials into one video. And if you want to go into it in more depth, I do just recommend the game because it's amazing. So what we need to do is we need to make an armor filament. Now, there are a few ways of doing this. We could just use an arm, and we could just swing it over and attach it. We'll need to use a glyph of bonding as well. So something like that. 3, if you flip that to there, and then something else moves it to there, and then up to here. Like, we'll use a very basic, crude method for the moment. So we need to move the iron off of there. We need to grab the iron that's here, move it to there, and that way when we get 2 here, they'll bond. And then we need to move the very last one up to here. So we give them all the same order. This is not what we'll actually do for the final. Right. There we go. And there we go. Ah! Both of them are grabbing the same iron atom. Right. That is an issue, which we need to resolve. Get rid of 5. And we use this, which is a track. And you can make a track for your arms to travel across. So we put that there, under 4. Now, with 4, it grabs, it moves. What if, instead of doing that on the reset, it grabs here, it moves it to the side, and then it will be bonded, presumably. Oh no, we don't even need a 5, do we? Because this should be bonded when we move it to here. Okay, let's just play this out. And see what happens. Because this, in theory, it'll be twisted weirdly, but it should work. Because they bond. There. And notice this. We're now making a filament. However, look how this filament is kind of weirdly skewed. It's because we're pulling it around ourselves. What we need to do is we need to reorient it. So, we can do this a couple of ways. Firstly, we could have it travel across a track, like I did before, or we could get it to twist the atom in its grasp. It can do that. If we have a quick look, if I replace you, you can go up here for a moment. This is an order to twist. So watch 4 here. Look at that rotate. I'm just going to get rid of those and put that back. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it an order to twist in its grasp after grabbing. And we'll have to get you to delay as well to avoid you having a collision. Right, everyone else needs to be slightly slower. Now. Watch 4. It twists it that way. It brings it over there. And again. And again. And it's now making the chain. And isn't that beautiful? Now, obviously the air is ginormous because we're swinging the entire chain. The cycles, we've got it being incredibly fast. In fact, that's not the fastest it could be. Apparently someone has come up with a method over here, I think. You can just about see a bar. But it is pretty damn fast. Cost isn't great. Now, we can make this far, far better. 4 doesn't have to do the twist thing. And in fact, we've kind of got this awkward situation here. Actually, no, this is fine. There's a 2 gap here, right? But there's a 2 gap here. Oh, it's a 3 gap. So what will happen is, if we get to the end, you'll notice that the highlighted section... It's highlighted at the end, but it's also highlighted the section here. Because it actually does, if your things are skewed slightly to the side, it will begin playing the last part over here, while still playing the last part over here. Now, we can fix this. You don't have to do that. If we get a track, we could get you to just shift things sideways rather than rotating. And in fact, we could get rid of your entire rotate plan. And we could tell you to go towards the plus part, which requires a plus. So, plus. We don't even need a rotate. We can probably move you all back. Oh, wait, 4's still skewed. There we go. And in theory... Now notice that since we aren't swinging it, it's just going out directly into a line because we're using this track. We're using the plus order to go towards plus point, and then reset will also just bring it back to the minus side. And then we make armor filament, which is just iron in a chain. We've actually beat our cycle by 1 as well. Cost is pretty high. Area is not great, but we can improve it. And part of the reason the area isn't great is because we are using this area around here that we're technically not using. I'm not even sure exactly why we're bothering having 2 like that. 2 could actually just be an arm. Because it's got so much spare time here, we could just get to swing back. Yeah. 2 is a lot of spare time, because it's waiting for 1 to do the whole grab process. Which 1 has to admittedly do a lot. Now, unlike the Glyph of Calcification, you can't just have something pass over it, you have to physically drop it onto that rune to get to work. And there we go. Area's down a bit. Cost is still okay, it's not the best cost. But we were optimizing quite well for speed here. Let us go back to menu. If we're going to go for something more complicated, let us try something like... invisible ink. No. Let's actually go back. We'll go for something really complicated. Unstable compound. That sounds fun. So, this is what we have to make. Now, we only have fire to make this with. Now, of course, we can make salt out of fire because it is a basic cardinal element, and the Glyph of Calcification will work for this. Let's just grab all of those for now. However, we also have some other issues. This here, this is a triple bond. Notice that it's not just a normal bond, it is orange, it is grey, and it is red. This is called a triple bond. We have the Glyph of Triplex Bonding. The Glyph of Triplex Bonding creates 3 separate types of bonds between fire atoms that, when overlaid, become a triple bond. A triplex bond, sorry. Basically, if you know chemistry, that sounds ish familiar in that it's an unstable bond because atoms would prefer to not share multiple bonds with the same atom. So, we need to somehow get this fire to have a triplex bond. And the way you do that is, I'm just going to whip this out. You need the fire to go in here, another fire to go in here, and bond them together. And then make sure they pass through each of these. So, if we were to do something like 1 and 2 grab, 2 turns clockwise, you turn anti-clockwise. No, wrong one. That is our red bond, one of them. We need to do the other 2. And we can do this by rotating them within our grasp. So if 1 was then to 2, you need to give up control. 1 then rotates. We get our orange bond. And then if we were to 2, you need to continue to rotate over there. And there we go. We have a triple bond. Now, there's probably a far faster way of doing that, but for the purposes of this, I'm not going to spend too long trying to come up with the perfect method. Oh my god, I want to do a Let's Play of this game. So that will get us a triple bond. However, here's the issue. We need the 3 triple bonds to the 1 atom. And if we try and do this here, what we'll end up with is a horrific mess. Because this is going to be in the way. You can't have an atom pass through the actual structural support of an arm. It can't do that because it's solid. So, we're going to need to come up with a much better way of doing this. Alright, that is our triple bond. We have a triple bond. We now just need to do other triple bonds connected to it. So we need to swing over another fire atom or 2. Okay, this is not complicated at all. And that's what I love about this game. 1. Did you reset? You actually didn't reset. You just let go. So grab another one, swing it down, let go. Okay. Delay that ever so slightly. That's good. We want you to do the same. 2. Oh, should be the other way around. And then we'll get you both to reset, but it's going to be far fancier than... Ah! Didn't mean to delete all of that. Okay. 2, you're going to have to be offset by 1. Okay. Try again. And there we have it. Now, if 2 rotates this one more time, one way, and then back 1 that way, and then you'll be here. 1, 2, 3. So we go 1, 1, 2, 3. What we should get is nearly all of the bonds done. Yes. However, we are missing the 2 bonds here. Now, probably the best way to do that would be to do using the tracks. Now, you don't need to use a track. There is another arm we can use. It is called the piston arm, and the piston arm can contract and extend. However, the piston arm costs 40, the track costs 5 per bit of track. Generally, the track is easier to do. The piston arm is good, though, because it can reach over and contract over other things. So... there we go. We got all our bonds. However, we still need to do salt. And that's going to involve us calcifying something and then making sure the calcification doesn't get triple bonded. Because that's the issue here. If the calcification gets triple bonded, we're kind of in trouble. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move you here. Gonna do the same with you, just so that we've got reach. And then we're going to have to come up with a way to cunningly add the salt on without accidentally multiple bonding it. If we want to salt this, we can't just keep rotating it here because it will rotate through some of the other bond types. And we really, really do not want it to rotate through some of the other bond types. So what if we brought 3 down below? Here. And then we started adding salt here. That might work. So we'll need something like that and something like that. Because we'll need to add salt to the end. And we'll also need to add salt here. And then if we put a track in... Ah! Wah! There. You should be able to deliver the salt. And then we need to add the salt on the end. Technically the salt added to the end we can just calcify by spinning it through here. And notice that the outside fire atom is getting calcified in place. That's working quite nicely now. And that's actually the finished product. So we just need to drop the finished product off. Now, 3. What do you do at the beginning? You don't actually do that much, so you've got plenty of time which you could reset. So I'm going to say, for the purpose of this, you go from here to here. Don't need that glyph calcification. So you can go over 1, reset. And then you take 3 extra at the end, but you've got 3 extra here, so that's fine. So, if we play... we'll see that getting put together. And there we go. We have successfully made that compound. Now, this bit here is quite slow. That bit where we're adding the extra salt on, I think, could be sped up quite a lot. But we've successfully made ourselves a very complicated Act 5 product. And all by spinning the atom repeatedly in place. I hope you followed what was going on there, because that was quite complicated. We did pretty well on area. Most people did that, though. Cost, we were at the upper bracket of most people. We didn't quite get into the niche echelon there. Cycles, we were pretty slow. But then again, people who spent more money probably did a lot faster. They probably did like the first part at the same time as doing that second part. Like this bit here, there. They're probably doing something else here at the same time. Because 1 could be adding all the fire atoms to that, while 2 is adding all the salt atoms. And that would probably be a lot faster than having the little breaks that we've got. We could redo this and we could try and improve that. But I think what I'll do for now is I'll call the episode here. I'll probably try and go through with some snazzy editing and just speeding that last part up for you guys. But it is, oh my god, it's just mesmerizing to watch this. You get some beautiful GIFs out of this game, you really do. And you can export to GIF, by the way, if you didn't notice that. Every time the mission ends, you can export to GIF. I've been tweeting so many of the GIFs because they're just beautiful. So for now, I'm going to just call it. This has been Opus Magnum. I'll put a link down below. It's a game that I am absolutely in love with. If you want me to Let's Play this, I will do so, hell yes. Because it's just such a beautiful game. It's not that hard to complete each actual mission. What the difficult part is trying to do it well. and trying to optimize for any of the, you know, area, speed, or cost. And I like the fact that we're calcifying this little thing in place. Like, we're not even calcifying before adding, we're cunningly calcifying this last one as it just spins over. I love this game so much. I really do. I really do. So if you at all want me to let's play this and go through it with some editing to speed up the puzzles, let me know. I am 100%. I really want to. So for now, I've been EnterElysium. The link will be down below to this game. I fully, utterly, completely recommend it. I adore it. It is just such an absolute beauty of a game. It goes up there with Mini Metro, maybe even higher, but maybe that's just my personal preference. The UI is clear. It is pretty at the same time. The gameplay is perfectly just... It's not hard, but the hard part is getting it to be efficient. It's just... I just love this game. And maybe it's just me, and maybe it didn't come across as well. I don't know. I'm interested in hearing down below, because I'm not sure how best to put a puzzle game like this across when a lot of it's mechanics and being inside your head. So do let me know feedback on that. But until next time, I've been EnterElysium. Like, subscribe. Stay shiny. I'm just going to stare at this GIF for a long time.